Hiya Instas, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, welcome too. So we are talking Gemini season, and this one's going to be quite quick. I've got a couple of readings to do today and some other stuff, so I'll try to keep it brief for you. And I'm very excited about this season. I have my natal Mars in Gemini. Let me know, by the way, in the comments if you have any natal Gemini placements. And for me, Gemini is in the 12th house as a Cancer rising. So yeah, but we'll get to the specific rising signs kind of at the end. I got a lot of notes and stuff, so bear with us. I'm just going to be kind of flitting to and from in Gemini season style. Mm. Happy new moon, by the way. Today is the official new moon in Taurus. I hope you're having a great Freaky Friday. So, yeah, Gemini season. Let's talk about the basics first, shall we? Um, Gemini season, the season then of mutable or double bodied air. So it's the first air sign season actually of the astrological year. And it is the season of the fox. So we get a lot of fox archetypes coming through, fox spirit coming through, and butterfly as well. I think especially butterfly spirit's going to be prominent this particular Gemini season. And I always try to describe Geminis or Gemini heavy people, Gemini season, as kind of like avatars or anime characters, sort of energy ball weavers. That's kind of what they're like. And if we want to talk about the story of Simba and the circle of light, which is what I like to use as an analogy to go through the 12 seasons and the alternation of light and shadow, then Gemini season is kind of when Simba is getting excited again and getting more active again and getting more talkative and communicative again, coming out of the shadow Taurus season. And yes, we get a lot of the energy ball flinging. Of course, we get, as in any masculine season, a bit more confrontation, a bit more spiciness, a bit more arguments, but I don't think it's going to be so serious or so bad for most people. And I think it's going to be just more fun and curious and even a bit bashful, actually. But Gemini season is like creative quilt weaving as well. I've talked about this before, how Gemini heavy people have this way of melding like the perfect ball or sphere of something out of multiple things. And birds as well is a big one. Little cute fast moving birds. This is Gemini season. Also insects, winged insects generally, but especially birds, singing songbirds, pairs as well, because Gemini, of course, is the lovers, it is the couple, it is the twins. And so we get like pairs of birds as well. So coupledom can become a big thing in Gemini season on all levels, in all ways. And also, we're going to get more speaking on things and more illumination as well of the other side of stories. And Gemini season always brings great time or opportunity or experience for consultations and for your curiosities. So yeah, it's the perfect season to kind of go and get some formal or legal or official advice in some sense. Also, we've got flights, literal flights, but lots of short trips, or lots of, this is kind of the season where we do lots of errands quite often. This is also what I want to call pedestrian lessons with Gemini season. You know, just sort of learning through the trial and error of life as an innocent, or not so innocent, but like a cheeky teenager type of spirit. Um, and this reminds me actually of a story I once read about like a coyote who didn't want to listen to the advice of others and wanted to cross this river, and was told by the elders, maybe don't cross that river because it's very fast moving and you'll be carried away by it, you'll drown. But the coyote didn't want to listen, tried to cross the river, and of course, you know what happened. But instead of just like succumbing to, I don't know, death, the coyote had to really think quickly on its feet or on in the water and try to hold on to things, try to catch the attention as well of other passers-by, and try to tell them a story or say things to them in order to convince them to help him out of the sticky situation. So this is kind of also Gemini season. So having to learn sometimes the hard way from not listening to others, especially elders, because of that I'll be fine type of mentality, or that kind of teenager rebellious type of energy even. But anyway, having to think really quick on your feet as a result. And it can be very teaching. It can be very teaching. By the way, follow my Instagram and my TikTok. I'll put that all below for you, where I'll talk much more over Gemini season about Mercury and about Gemini, because there's just so much to say. I don't think I'm gonna cover everything in this little video. But yes, Gemini season begins officially with the sun entering at 0 degrees in like a day or two as I film this video. And connivers is a big thing that can crop up, or a big type of person that can crop up. It's conniving, it's mental adeptness, swiftness of the mind, mental agility, whatever you want to call it. It is the Kens as well in Gemini season. So I would beware of like power hungry game players and power hungry game playing. If you have that tendency, just keep a little eye out for that. But again, I don't think it's going to be anything serious this year round. The tone as well of Gemini season is set by Mercury in Taurus, because Mercury rules Gemini, and Mercury is going to therefore be hosting this sun as it transits 29 days through Gemini. And Mercury at this beginning moment will be conjunct the North Node, and the North Node will be conjunct Jupiter, which, as we know, Jupiter has just entered Taurus to begin a year-long transit. Check out my video on that. But I also feel that we are fresh, like on this new moon, exalted, big deal kind of energy. And yeah, Gemini season is just generally very exciting, very mentally interesting, very like in that pedestrian way again, bumping into people and having like really queer, curious conversations. And it's kind of very often where you bump into someone who you kind of remember, but not really, but they remember you, and you kind of just have this random catch up or conversation, or they kind of pass on something quite curious or cool, little tidbits. You know, Gemini season is small talk season, but it's like something more profound or divine, even gleaned from something so small, something so small talky. You know, it's like when you're in the lift with someone and what you say or what they say to you, and just kind of what it makes you think, how it makes you reflect for the rest of that day or even longer. That's Gemini season. This is also like, you know, people you might meet. They could be like the good people, or it could be like an actual angel or spirit guide that is meeting you in human form and having a certain conversation with you or interaction. And it can be so fleeting as well, Gemini season, like an insect, like a tiny little bird. So blink and you'll miss it. And also we're in the rabbit year, so I get this sense of the romance of things and the completion of lots of relationships, concluding relationships as well, and coupledom is very big, as I said, and also getting cozy and getting burrowed in your relationships. And of course, Gemini season brings out your other side, your darker side sometimes, or your lighter side, or a bit of both. It is the twin season, of course. And we will have the Sun trine Pluto. Pluto will be retrograde in Aquarius. And so this is a divine yes to reforming a kind of lost abundance for some people. And also the Sun will be sextile Mars in Leo. I did a video already on Mars in Leo transit, which is coming up very soon. And this can be an easy recipe for egoic wars. We have a lot of masculine energy being introduced now. This is commending the worthy as well, and also calling out the cowards if there are like cowards around you, or seeing that happening. And Hints does know I love Princess Nokia. I call her the princess of the Geminis. I would listen to her music if you don't know her already, and listen to her lyrics. But yeah, there's this Gemini sense during Gemini season of everyone's offended, but nobody offended me. And so kind of like highlighting the conceits of life and the conceitedness of other people, but doing it in a very humorous, quirky, or witty way. You know, Gemini heavy people tend to have lots of quick wit, and they tend to be the masters of memes, whether they collect memes, share memes, or they actually even make them themselves. They can be, you know, the younger ones, they can be very meme fluent, and just funny and kind of shady, but also funny, philosophical. Again, that mixture, that avatar energy ball kind of crafting energy. And also Gemini season can have us like saying things like, do you know what it is? Like, tell me why is it that ... and like sort of asking these cheeky, curious questions about people or people's behavior. And because again, remember, this is a light season, and so we start again to speak more, right? And ask more and be more vocal. So yeah, conceits, wit, and just being like, funny that, innit? And just kind of being more vocal, or at least in your head, kind of just making those mental notes about life and people and whatever the case might be. And yeah, with this rabbit season overarching, or rabbit year overarching energy, this is like magician energy extra highlighted during Gemini season. Again, the coyote archetypes, the juggler as well, the divine juggler. Gemini is very often associated with things like multitasking, multilingualism, and so on. And we've got the Sun, as I said, hosted by Mercury in Taurus. So this is skills and things that are just simple skills and straightforward skills. And this is also whatever happened during the Mercury retrograde that we had in Taurus recently, that still remains important during this particular Gemini season of this year. So the Sun could be just further illuminating something for us. And this, as I said, is the first mutable season. So a mutable season starts to shake things up. It starts to deconstruct as well anything that has become too fixed or too stubborn. So it's coming away slightly from Taurus energy, but not really, because there's still a lot going on in Taurus this year, even with the Sun leaving. But it can, Gemini season, create a little bit more spice and deconstruction of things wherever you have Taurus in your chart. And I would pay attention especially to the date when Mercury stationed to go retrograde. So that was around April 20th. And the stationing of planets is considered to be arguably the most important point of a retrograde. And I was looking through my journal, and let me have a look what was going on for me. If you do journal or keep records, have a look at around April 20th. Yeah, so on that day, apparently I drew the Four of Cups in the tarot for that day. And yes, of course, that was officially the beginning of Taurus season as well. And I was getting very resolute to get my head down and complete a course that I was doing online, which I'm happy to say I finished and got the certificate for. Also, apparently, I wanted to keep and make as many friends as possible because Taurus season is my 11th house, and become a Duolingo and Pokemon champion. Yeah, kind of. That's a work in progress. And I sent some important documents to someone, and they safely got there. So, of course, Mercury is associated with the messaging and the transfer of things. And also, when a planet is stationing, that can represent a reversal. So, maybe if you've been very inactive, it can represent becoming more active suddenly, or the opposite. And yeah, I was just feeling very good apparently on this time. And I was almost done with my course of antibiotics as well. But I was still struggling to eradicate sugar, which I can tell you I'm still struggling with. So, sugar is a real thing, and it's very hard to give it up. Anyway, that's a work in progress. More Taurus season into Gemini season, fun. But anyway, yeah, I would look back. Let me know in the comments what was going on for you around that time. And of course, Gemini season is still the spiritual spring, so it's getting towards Cancer season, so getting towards the second angular stage of the astrological year, and therefore getting kind of towards the end of the first quarter. But it's still spiritual spring collectively, and this is like meaning that it's okay to have a few bashes or slip ups here and there in terms of the give and take of things, in terms of if you want to call it karma. And Mercury was known as the twinkling one, and the androgynous one, and the flitting one, right? The teleporter, divine teleporter. So there could be a lot of that for some of us, and kind of coming to and fro and filling our schedules up as well is really great, I think. Again, that errand running or errand keeping, or just trying to keep things very eclectic as well, that could be very Gemini season. Very social season for a lot of people, social butterfly season. And also excellence, I think, is going to be a big theme this particular Gemini season. And I say that because Mars is about to enter Leo, and of course Leo sextiles Gemini, so this very easy recipe energy again for Leo masculine and Gemini masculine energies to just really meld and really hit things off. And this is like excellence and speaking on again your own excellence, the excellence of others, and also in that very Leonite way, the commendment and the pride and the theatrics as well of excellence. Also, Gemini, as I said, rules like hands or putting your hands to stuff, and anything that's like paired as well. So paired things. That could be literal for you, things being highlighted. But generally, I think this Gemini season is going to be very positive. And this is just some, but some of the Mercury in Gemini or mercurial expressions that we might have highlighted is, yes, androgyny, or bi-ness, so whatever bi might mean, like binaries, bisexuality, bilingualism, bi something, becoming more of a theme for some. And again, with this new moon in Taurus energy, it's like a positive springboard into Gemini season and out of all the kind of heavy, perhaps, eclipse season stuff that was going on. Education is a big mercurial thing, as is money and commerce and the kind of exchange of currencies. And this could be, I can see I can see people like running to the Bureau de Change, literally. And Mercury is also service, so that could be very literal, but also like maybe having those divine kind of interactions again if you do work in service with people. What's her name? Asma Khan, the celebrity chef restaurateur Asma Khan, I'm pretty sure that's her name. I once saw her in an episode of something, and she was saying how the guest is an incarnation of God, and that really kind of stayed with me in terms of service and providing food for people. We have a lot of Taurus energy this time round still, and Jupiter there as well. So there could be a lot of deep wisdom or expansion gained from service to others and putting your hands to serving others, and that can of course relate to food, cooking, and all that jazz. But yeah, the guest is an incarnation of God. Mercury also deals with writings, scripts, languages, speech, scribes, interpreting, and also brotherhood is going to be a big thing, and twinning, and lots of different masculinities coming to the surface, and community as well, maybe more masculine forms of community, or the communities expressing themselves in more masculine ways. And also Mercury is the ruler of ambassadors and heralds and sort of the town crier ding-a-ling types. Maybe a lot of us don't hear town criers anymore literally, but that could be in some digital sense maybe, or some other sense, social media sense. Maybe there's that town crier announcement type of thing going on. And also Jupiter is in Taurus, right? So this is Hierophant energy. This is ordainment for some. This is rituals, spiritual rituals being entered for some. Mercury also deals with numbers and calculations, calculuses, geometry, and profit as well. That can factor in for some of us. And also things like youth and play. Remember I said Gemini is like the teenage spirit archetype of the zodiac, and versatility as well. So Scissor Sisters kind of versatility. You get, Kylie Minogue, for example, Gemini Rising, or Lady Gaga, Gemini Rising. You get a lot of the more eclectic styles and presentations. And again, it's that divine creative quilt weaving and using the hands. I think Lady Gaga makes a lot of her own clothes actually, or has like a background in textiles or dressmaking. I might be wrong. It's been a long time, but I think that's kind of her background and origin. But yes, like androgynous styles as well can really come through, and versatile styles. Anyway, so Sun in Gemini for all the rising signs then, very briefly. The Sun, just to remind, is the god of illuminations and realizations, affirmation, like that divine yes, and also it is vitality. So the Sun can definitely be a good or benefic planet in that it just reintroduces some vitality. So wherever it touches your chart now, it could be bringing new energy, like sunlight. Like when you're sick or you're a sick patient and the sunlight comes through. They do say that sick patients recover faster if there's sunlight coming through, literally hitting them. And I believe that. So yeah, vitality as well can be a big thing. So for Gemini Rising, first of all, we've got the Sun in an angular house for you. So angular houses are the more important houses. These seasons are more prominent for you, or poignant, shall we say. So this is things like your body, your aura, your personality, your very spirit, and also initiations. So big things you are starting or leading, maybe, or putting your head into. Just watch out for that like coyote type of energy of having to learn the hard way, or having to think very fast on your feet after having thrown yourself somewhere. Cancer rising, this is your undoing. This is necessary travel abroad, or even being forced to travel far or abroad. This is the house for you of bad spirit, curses, dreamscapes, and also dream planes. Um, but also the 12th house contains things like that which is hidden from us. And when the sun is going through the 12th, there is a lot of illumination on things hidden, including that spiritual hidden gems and treasures. So it could easily be a very great and enlightening transit for you, Gemini season. Now, Leo rising, this is your life path ruler, the sun that we're talking about entering Gemini. And so this is the house of good spirit. This is the house of friends and allies. This is wishes. This is hopes. And this is support as well from the gods. Virgo rising, again, another angular house for you. This is career. This is big change or big actions. This is reputation. And this is also sometimes family as well. Libra rising, this is higher education or learning generally. This is optimism. It's divination, things like astrology, yes. Things like dream interpretation, yes. This is also purposeful travel or optimistic travel, the kind of travel you more want to do or just do for like fun, like bucket list type stuff. Okay, Scorpio rising. This is other people's business or secrets. This is contracts. This is death or ends, and this is idleness as well. Sagittarius rising, Sag. This is another angular house. So this is partners. This is meeting people in the middle. This is stuff like evening commiseration and where the sun sets. This is the seventh house, so it could well be a great season for, I always think with the seventh house as being like when you toast with someone with a glass of bubbles on the sunset terrace or something like that, on a promenade on the beach at night with a little fire. That's seventh house energy, so it could be just more unions with people, more celebrating, toasting with people for you, Sagittarius. Capricorn Rising, this is hiring other people or paying people for their services. This is stuff like your health coming up, perhaps. This is also the house of bad fortune, but as I said earlier, with a couple of the other signs, when you have the sun going through this house of bad fortune, it can actually be an introduction of vitality, or an introduction of a divine yes or affirmation, or just a lightening up of bad things. Aquarius Rising, this is stuff like children, pets, this is creative projects, this is good fortune for you, and this is your livelihood as well. So there could be more vitality, illumination, and the like regarding that. Pisces Rising, then an angular house for you as well. So this is home, roots, your literal house. This is the past. This is buried matters. We get quite like subconscious and inexplicable with the fourth house. And this can also be family for you too. Aries Rising, then this is siblings, friends, neighbors, anyone like kind of around you in your digital localities as well. This is feminine divinities. This is like local divinities. Remember, I talked about the kind of pedestrian philosophies of Gemini season and the pedestrian learning. This is also astrological learning, yes. And I just have this image of some of you, Aries, kind of teaching yourself, throwing yourself into something like astrology or tarot, and just seeing what you can learn and explore. And finally, Taurus Rising, then this is your spending, this is your effort, this is your investments, this is cooking, nutrition, and all that jazz. So yeah, have a lovely Gemini season, everyone. And I'm sure the Gemini Risings especially won't even be watching this video because I feel like Gemini Risings are, they tend to be the most skeptical, but also the most kind of mentally stimulated and interested in things. So they might put their hands to more things right now and their mind to more things. And all of us as well may well be more likely to do that. Anyway, see you later and have a great Freaky Friday. Bye bye.